Okay, so I wanted to take a minute to just put out this very candid video on my thoughts to Stormgate. So no scripts, no editing, just a messy video where I just kind of stream of consciousness my thoughts on Stormgate so far. Now, I was super excited for Stormgate coming out because I'm a big fan of RTS, and while can't always compete at the level I want to in RTS, just because of my own limitations, but I adore the genre. A huge fan of strategy, and it doesn't get better in terms of strategy than that. The strategies are so intricate and complex. So when Stormgate's coming out and they're kind of advertising that it's the new StarCraft, that improved on some things, that a lower bar to entry, that sounds really cool to me because RTS is a kind of genre that's difficult to share with your friends because, not necessarily ready to devote a bunch of time to it. I think the shooter genre is much more conducive to that. You can just be like, "Oh, hey, hop on," and you haven't played in 6 months, and you're fine. You're still playing at basically the same level as you always have. But it's not really how it is with RTSs. You have to keep up with it. You have to build that muscle memory to a point that it's used and adapt new strategies things. It's not just the strategy, it's the difficulty of the genre in general. So because I was so excited about the idea that Stormgate has a lower bar to entry, let's talk about that first. As that to me is one of the ones that stood out to me. A couple RTSs that are going to be coming in 2024, 2025, around there. And many of them are advertising being better than RTSs have been in the last couple of years. Not many RTSs have really pushed the boundary of the genre past what StarCraft 2 did. And StarCraft 2 has just kind of been riding its coattail for a while now. The community has just perpetuated the game for quite a while now. It itself has not been growing. So in light of that, it's starting to come time to find a new place, and we'll want to talk about that as well. But first, like I said, the lower bar to entry thing. I think that's absolutely true. That there are certain RTSs that are a little bit easier to play than others. StarCraft 2, if you're not on point with things like injects, making sure that you're constantly going back to that base and getting that production cycle, and the fine tuning of some of these strategies like that, the micro. You're playing Marines, but you have to split against the Baneling. All of these things are just the first step to getting anywhere. The vast majority of players are in the Bronze League, and even compete in the Bronze League, you have to be able to do these things. That's brutal. That is just the absolute most difficult thing. However, you have RTSs that are on the other end of the spectrum. Probably the easiest one that I've ever played is Command and Conquer, back when they were still making console games and PC games rather than mobile games. And Command and Conquer Red Alert 3 was a lot of fun. It was fairly easy to pick up. You didn't have to manage workers so much, and that said, it was kind of a buggy game too, with very weird interactions, not perfectly tuned, but it was simpler to play. I feel that Stormgate strikes a perfect balance between these two, where it has functions that once you learn how to use them, does genuinely make it easier. But I like how high the skill ceiling remains, where pro players can eke a lot out of these mechanics. And so even though there are nice features, quality of life features for the new player and for the low level player, the high level players can optimize it so much further beyond that, that It's not an overly simplified game, but it's still simpler to pick up. It took me, I don't know how many months to get at a basic level of proficiency in StarCraft 2, and in this game, I feel like just a couple of days, 4 days, 5 days, I've really picked it up. And that's coming from an RTS background, so take that with a grain of salt. But I do feel like it is easier. That said, if you were looking for this to be like League of Legends or Call of Duty or something like that, where someone who's just kind of like in and out of gaming can pick it up and start playing with you, maybe not so much. It'll take a couple of weeks of learning the game and the RTS things in general, having to expand fast and be aggressive out on the map. And so I've had a mixed experience with that, where some friends are like, "Oh, this is really cool. It's interesting. Yeah, it's difficult, but like they were able to play." That's something that is not the case for StarCraft. Yeah, that part of it was really cool. But other friends were still like, "Oh, that's RTS is not for me," because it still does have that very difficult lower. So yeah, that means that StarCraft 2 was here. I feel like the game did lower the bar so that you get in and play, but only if you're right in between those. So it is still an RTS. I would love to see some more quality of life things added into the game to continue to drive this home, and for them to fix some of the systems they already have. The global command card is really cool. However, it does pull workers randomly sometimes from like halfway across the map, and you have to wonder how it came to that conclusion that that was the most convenient worker. But it is in early beta, so I expect them to fix that kind of thing. On the other hand, improving on the genre's capabilities, I definitely feel it. Like the game feels smooth, and that's probably the biggest thing. When I pick up an older game like Age of Empires, it's got so many fun mechanics, so many fun concepts, but it's a mess. And Command and Conquer was the same way. Even the newer Age of Empire games still kind of hey, they don't feel super responsive. Just unpolished. And this game, even in its early beta, feels like it has so much more polish. It's actually crazy. So, with that being the case, I think that they are definitely making waves there. Some really cool systems. I forget what it's called, but they have that function where it helps accommodate for lag. So if you're giving commands and then the hit that lag spike when you when your game finally catches up to the server, those commands usually get lost in the ether. However, this will try and merge the two. Oh wait, a couple things happened. Well, we did, and let's go ahead and send those commands in action. Actually, just today, I played with someone who was having serious lag issues, and it went okay for them. Not great, obviously. You still can't really see what's happening, but it helped, and so that was really cool to see. The other thing is the other thing being their Snowblade feature, making it 3 times more responsive than I believe it was, yeah, more responsive than StarCraft. Already feeling super smooth, even now 10, 12 years. I forget how long StarCraft 2 has been out, but it's been a while. That game still feels super smooth. To actually trounce it in terms of how smooth So, Stormgate is looking super, super promising. Really excited for it to come out, for me to keep making content on this channel out of Storm. So, it was a nice little opener here on Next Fest, and I can't wait for them to have more opportunities down the line, streaming, playing. I'd love to hear from you, the RTS community, uh, especially with a new game, new builds, and coming out. It's always exciting, and I know it's one that they're going to keep updating, so that'll be really, really cool. As if this launch goes well, we can get a community like StarCraft 2 going again. It's the coolest community to be a part of. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Your thoughts on Stormgate, your build ideas, your predictions for the future, your expectations, your disappointments. I'd love to hear and just honestly engage with the community in that way. So I haven't been able to get out as much content as I would have liked. Chronic fatigue and being a parent is not a bad not a good combination. My brain is fried. I'm hopefully coherent in this video. And I hopefully will be getting a few more videos out here during next Fest. I have tons of thoughts, interesting units, so I'd love to talk about some more individual things, but here you go, just a super messy video. This has been Expedition Anything. Looking forward to seeing you in the future.